Hi, my name's Isaac, and this is a brand new 2023 Ram 2500 Rebel. And today, I'm gonna review it for you guys. I'm excited to tackle this truck because the Rebel trim is all new for the 2023 model year on the 2500s. This is the first time it's made its appearance, and it has some cool, unique touches. So, without further ado, let's get started. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Lancaster Dodge, Ram, and Fiat for allowing me to borrow this vehicle to review. For all your Stellantis needs in the Lancaster, Pennsylvania area, I'll provide a link in the description below. Starting out up front on the new 2500 Rebel, you'll have full LED headlights, high and low beams, and then moving below that, you'll have incandescent turn signals, and even further down, you'll have LED fog lights. Then even further down, you'll have parking sensors which dot the entire lower portion of the front bumper. You'll also get two massive tow hooks up here, and the big thing that rounds out the front end is the Rebel style grille, which has been on the 1500s for quite a few years now. But as I mentioned up top, 2023 is the first year for the 2500s to officially get the Rebel trim, and I think it looks really good. You'll also get some air intakes up here and on the side, though unfortunately all of these are faux. They are non-functional, at least from what I can tell. Doesn't look like they pass through. At least they look cool though. Moving underneath the hood on this Rebel, it's powered by a 6.7 liter inline six Cummins turbo diesel, which makes 370 horsepower and a whopping 850 pound-feet of torque. And that is paired to a 6-speed automatic transmission. Moving to the profile of this 2500 Rebel, we'll start here with the wheels and tires. You'll get two 85/60R Goodyear Duratracs around these wonderful 20-inch wheels. I absolutely love the silver black design. I've mentioned in years past on other reviews how much I like when trucks do this with their wheels, and I think Ram makes some of the best looking wheels in the industry. Up here you'll have your Cummins turbo diesel badge and your Ram badge. Then if we move up here to the mirror, this is all new for the 2500. There is a light right here. This doubles as a turn signal. There is a light right here. There is also a light right here. And then you'll have two mirrors. This is kind of your blind spot towing mirror. This is your normal one. They're both heated, and you do have blind spot monitoring as well. And these are power adjusting mirrors, not just in the angle that you move them. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we move to the interior. But first, let's talk about the door handle. You do have keyless entry, so if you have the key in your pocket, you just tap that, it locks the vehicle. If you have the key in your pocket, you put your hand, yep, you put your hand back there, and then that will unlock it. Very useful. And one of the other cool features is when you open the door, there is power running boards that deploy on this particular Rebel. And then when you close it, give it a second, and then they will deploy back up, giving you a wonderful amount of ground clearance. I really like that Ram includes those. And then as we move to the rear here, you'll have LED taillights. You'll have the Ram logo on your blind spot monitoring sensor. Yes, that's where this is. It kind of sends out the sensor from here, and then it tells you in the mirror. So that's actually where it's incorporated. Your Rebel logo, Ram, across the back of the tailgate and 4x4, as well as a tow hitch and more parking sensors to assist in the safety of backing up, especially on a truck like this. You want more parking sensors. You'll have a backup camera right here, and then opening up the bed, or I guess opening the tailgate to access the bed, you'll see it is about as bright red as Clifford the Big Red Dog. There's no drop-in or spray-in bed liner here, though of course that's an option on this truck that if you're looking for one may already be included or can be added on the dealer. This is so high that, like, look, hold on a second. I need you to look to see what this is what I'm trying to do. Give up forever to touch you. This is so high that it is very difficult to get to this to just show you guys that this is a household outlet up to 400 watts, which is really useful. And then you'll have some cargo tie downs in here. And that's pretty much it. No lights in this particular one. It's pretty basic. Though the one thing I do want to touch on in the bed, I have never seen this. This particular truck does not have a 360-degree camera system. It only has a regular backup camera when it comes to rear safety. But it does have a camera up in the cargo light right up there as a bed camera. So if you have stuff in your bed sliding around, you can check that while you're driving. We'll touch upon that in the interior. I have never seen a vehicle have the bed camera and the backup camera, but not the 360 one. I think that's a very interesting configuration. So it just goes to show that you can really order this truck in whatever configuration you want. Before we move to the interior, I want to highlight the key fob really quick. So in addition to lock, unlock, and panic, you'll also have the ability to remote start this truck, which is cool. Yeah, that's a beautiful sound, a big diesel engine. So we'll turn that off. And then you also have the ability to drop the tailgate from the key fob as well. So that's nice. And that is something you can also do from the interior. I'll highlight that briefly when we move there, but pretty standard Ram key. It says Ram on the back, and you get some nice functionality.
And now a quick word from this week's sponsor. Are you constantly looking over your shoulder, worrying that people will make fun of you because your tires aren't shiny?
Wait a minute. Literally no one has ever had that thought.
Okay, well, give me a minute. Have you ever wished your tires could keep that glossy, wet look they have right after washing them?
See, now I've also never had that thought personally, but I can understand how people would more realistically think that.
Great, that'll do. Introducing Torque Detail's High Gloss Tire Shine. Now all you have to do is shake, spray, then wipe to get that glossy, wet look you've always craved.
I don't think I would use the word craved.
Torque Detail doesn't just sell tire shine, though. They have an entire host of car detailing equipment for your every need. Like their best-selling ceramic spray that gives up to 12 months of protection. Order now by going to torquedetail.com. This ending part is usually where I would talk very fast, listing a bunch of side effects if this was some sort of medicine, but it's not. It's a tire shine.
Moving to the interior. Sorry, I got to turn the look by Roxette down. I was letting my phone charge while I was listening to that and figuring out what all the mirror buttons do. Behind the scenes with an automotive journalist. Starting here on the door panel, you will have a very nice soft touch material up here so you can rest your arm, and then you will have your memory seat buttons right there. You'll have your window controls, lock and unlock, and then your lockout for the rear windows and the passenger one. Then you will have your mirror controls. So they are power folding mirrors, but they are also power extending mirrors, which is cool. So if we hit this button right there, that front one, it lights up, and then we can move them in and out, which is really neat. That happens, if we push this again, that happens on both sides. So as I mentioned, a lot of power options here on this mirror, and then there's lights. You can turn the bottom light on, you can turn the top light on. So there's a couple of different buttons you can mess with in there. Let's see, you're out on the ranch at night and you need more lighting options. You can use that on the mirror, which is really helpful. So I'm going to move these back in. I really like the functionality. I guess you have to tap, you just tap them, you don't have to hold them. I was holding them the whole time. I guess it doesn't really hurt though. You'll have your lighting controls down here and your brightness for this new fully digital gauge cluster screen that you get. Really useful. There's a lot of different things that you can mess around with. I've always liked Ram's infotainment, but their gauge clusters are really cool too. There's a bunch of different screen sections that you can mess with. See, like if I go into upper left, I can put like the temperature, the time, the range. I can really mess around with what I want on this truck and my adjustments of things. I think that's really cool that they give you that opportunity. And then this upper center, we have the Rebel badge, but maybe I just want the direction or the outside temp. I can change that. This is what center screens should be. They should be giving you the option to change these things. You know, some center screens don't really give you a lot of customization. And you're like, why did you even make this fully digital if you're not going to give us customization? But here, the Ram really does excel with that. There's a bunch of different things you can mess with on there. And as you can see, yes, I know we're low on diesel, but we'll power through. The other buttons on the steering wheel include your volume and channel changing on the back side of the steering wheel right there. That's kind of a Chrysler Fiat, or I guess it's Stellantis now, hallmark that's been on their vehicles for a while. This is a very comfortable steering wheel, and then you will have a column shifter, which is always good, but I like that it has little stitching in its leather. That's really cool that it matches the rest of this interior, doesn't feel cheap or chintzy. Now, we have it in reverse, and here is your backup camera. Pretty traditional backup camera. Looks pretty good though, and it gives you the ability to zoom in on the tow hitch if you're lining it up, and it does have no guiding lines. Okay, so they don't move with the steering wheel, but it's nice that you still have that option. And then if we tap this right here, you have your little bed camera. Now, markedly less high quality, but it's cool that you still have that. I think that's a really neat option right there, that it's included. So I think that's cool. Like I mentioned, I've never seen that before. And then I'm just gonna throw this back into park. And then we're gonna take a look at this new updated infotainment system. So Ram's had this on their trucks for a little while now, but this has been updated and patched, and now it has what Amazon Alexa, I think, incorporated into it. Yes, it does, but it needs a Wi-Fi connection, which we don't have at the moment. But there's a lot of different things you can do in here. Normally, I would not like that everything is hidden in the screen. So most of the climate controls, barring like the AC, fan speed and hot or cold, are relegated to this screen. They know these are the primary buttons. Okay, that's what people are going to be touching. But the heated seats, the ventilated seats, don't mind if I do, and the heated steering wheel are all built into the screen. So that's usually a little inconvenient, but this screen is very quick. It's very, very responsive, and it's easy to find your way around stuff. Again, a lot of customization. Right now, I have the navigation up here, built-in navigation, and then down here, just the regular radio. If you wanted to have Apple CarPlay and your other navigation down here, you could do that. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can mess with. You can add a page if you want. You can see the different layout options. It's very convenient on here, and I'm glad that Ram has not skimped on their infotainment system. It just makes this interior feel more premium, which is good. You want that feeling. And then down here, you'll have some auxiliary buttons, your tow haul mode, stuff like that, and then you'll have USBs and an auxiliary port if you actually have an auxiliary 3.5 millimeter headset jack to plug in. I don't know many people that would, but if you want to plug your iPod in, you can do that. Then down here, you will have some storage for phones. You can plop them in there, and you will have a movable cup holder spot, and then you can put stuff down there, like this tiny little leaf that's down there. That was already there. We'll move that on the carpet. That was already there, but just an example of what you could put. And then up here, you can open this, and you'll see there's a USB and some storage. And then opening it even further, there is more storage. And what I really like is that there's this little divider that you can fold up to separate your cargo, and it has all the different Rams on it of all the different years. I think that's neat. And then if we move over here, Rebel is on this kind of center storage area, because if you press this, that's gonna pop up. You can put stuff in there, and you still do get a traditional glove box as well. Everything is very finely fitted with kind of a leatherette material in here with the stitching. I think it's really nice, and it says Rebel right there on the seats. They're bolstered very well. Of course, I mentioned earlier they are power because they have power memory adjustment. It'd be weird if they had power memory adjustment, but they were manual. Though that pretty much wraps up this front portion of the interior. A couple things I want to mention real quick. It does have a driver's side grab handle. It passes the Alpha Shark driver's side grab handle test. And then up here you do have some emergency features, as well as a button to drop your tailgate from in here as well, and the button to open your power sliding rear window. Thankfully it is power here on the Ram, and it's not manual. So that's gonna wrap up this front portion for the most part. Let's take a look at the back. Moving to the rear seats in the 2500 Rebel, I probably have 4 or 5 inches of legroom, maybe a little bit more. This seat is a little far back because I pushed it back to film. And then I have 3 or 4 inches of headroom, very comfortable. a very open back seat space. Then down here, I'll have heated seats, 2 sets of USB and USB-C, 2 climate vents, 2 cup holders, and a household outlet, which is nice. Then you'll have 2 cup holders right here that fold down, and we can lift this center portion up for some storage underneath with some dividers, which is convenient. That's like nice to have these little dividers. And then you do get 2 cup holders down here as well. So that's nice to have. And overall, very spacious back here. All right, driving the 2500 Rebel. This is a great angle. You'll get the driver's side grab handle and the steering wheel obscuring most of my body, which is what I'm sure all of you want to see. Now, I just filmed this segment actually, but my mic died halfway through it, actually pretty early on, so I'm re-recording it. I was on the highway. This thing accelerates pretty good. Obviously, it's really a truck meant for towing, so it doesn't have a great 0 to 60. That's not really why most people are buying it. The gas, the acceleration, and the braking does feel good, and the steering feels good. I also think that the visibility is really nice. I actually feel, I don't know how to articulate it well, so I'm gonna try my best. I feel more comfortable driving this than I did with the Hummer EV. I did that earlier today. There's a little behind the scenes too. You can piece together when I film something the same day because I'm wearing the same clothes. And the EV, what was maybe a little bit more open with the glass and the visibility, but the way it was laid out, it just felt, I don't know, more nerve-wracking to drive. I really liked it, but I was like, ugh, I don't know, this feels bulkier on the road than this 2500 does in comparison. And it wasn't a bad drive, but I like this a little bit more. And what other praise do I have for this truck? Oh, the build quality is pretty good on this. Normally, even on Dodge products, there's some shoddy build quality somewhere in the truck. I try to find that. I touch things and I shake them a little bit and I'm like, let's see if they messed up at all. But really, this truck feels very well built. Column shifter feels nice. Buttons all feel nice to touch. They don't feel chintzy or cheap or rattly, which is of course what you want, but unfortunately not always what you get on a vehicle like this. But here you do. And so I gotta commend Ram for that, because I think it is very comfortable. And overall, this is just a comfortable drive. I gotta commend the truck in that regard, because I've really enjoyed driving it. And it works, right? You buy this truck because it looks cool and it works. And these engines are bulletproof. Don't actually shoot it. I cannot promise if it's actually bulletproof. Well, that is just about going to wrap up my review of this Ram 2500 Rebel. But before I go, I'd like to mention that I am a Christian, and if you have any prayer requests, I would love to be able to pray for you guys. You can leave those in the comment section below. And lastly, I like to close out on a weekly scriptural reading. This week's is Proverbs 8:1. Listen as wisdom calls out, hear as understanding raises her voice. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. Take care.